Hi, Jessica. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad to have you here with us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm extremely excited to be here.
Great. So, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you live, and a little bit about what you do now?
Yes, so I'm Jessica, and I am by trade originally a registered nurse. I was a registered nurse for over 20 plus years. And even before that, I was doing nursing assistant for 8 years before that. So I've been taking care of people for a very long time. It's my love, it's my passion. Currently, what I do is I'm a health and life coach. I've shifted gears from that reactive care of people to a more proactive approach, helping people, get healthy, stay healthy, and then live that healthy lifestyle they like. I'm coming to you right now from Southern California. I'm not originally from here. I'm originally from actually Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, yes. And Boston is such a gorgeous city and a wonderful city, but I'm a sunshine, warm weather kind of girl.
Okay. So, I was poking around your website a little bit and I saw a quote on there that said, money isn't everything. So, you've had a major shift. You started in corporate healthcare, worked as a
Mhm.
nurse, and made this major change. So, can you talk about what that was like, if it was scary, how long it took you to make that change?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely scary. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. So I was in corporate healthcare, and I spent my nursing career just working hard, just hardworking. I really wanted to make a difference in what I was doing. And I, at one point, felt that in order to make that difference, I needed to get to that top of that executive corporate ladder. And I did, and I made it there. So my work had me leading change across whole hospital systems. So responsibility over several hospitals at a time. I was a resource, a go-to. And of course, with that kind of work came a lot of good money. I was paid very well for it. But eventually, over some time, now I did that for about 10 years. And I got to a point where I was starting to feel some what I now recognize as signs of burnout.
Yeah.
And I was doing a lot where I was just putting out a lot for a lot of people, everyone depending on me. I definitely didn't want to let anybody down, so I just kept doing and putting out and doing and putting out, at work, at home with the kids. I have a husband and kids, my parents, et cetera, and friends. And so I just got to a point where I just started kind of going down this slippery slope, starting to feel some anxiety, some sadness, not feeling very fulfilled
Mhm.
anymore. And actually, what I found was, as I started using, especially now in hindsight, of course, it's always 2020, I found that I was using a lot of the money that I was making to kind of get some retail therapy in. I was
Mhm.
using a lot of that money to, buy things here, buy for me, buy for friends, buy for family, buy. And I mean, of course, that's nice when, you're blessed in a way that you can provide for others that way, but it wasn't effective money spending. It was just me
Yeah.
trying to find feelings to feel better, ways to feel better. So what I eventually figured out and it wasn't an overnight thing, it was a process, and it was a pretty difficult and painful process, but eventually I figured out that money isn't everything. I was making all this money, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't
Yeah.
fulfilled. I was feeling empty inside. And so I did. I eventually made a decision to walk away. And a lot of people thought I was crazy. Friends, family. I had worked so many years, 20 plus years to get there. And yet I kind of just made a decision and just decided to walk away from it. And it was painful. It was torturous. But I knew in
Yeah.
my heart it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, your story really resonates with me because I have the same story. It's a little bit different, but I walked away from a very secure career in higher education with that same burnout creeping in.
Yeah.
And you don't really know that that's what it is for a while, right? Until you
Right.
really, really feel it and you have to make a decision. I did want to ask you two things really. The first is what you did mention anxiety and the retail therapy and just that overall sense of unhappiness. But if someone were sensing that they are just unhappy in their job, that maybe burnout is coming, what are the signs of it? What are the early signs that people, that
Mhm.
women in particular can look for?
Yes, of course. I think some of the earlier signs are just tired
Yes.
all the time,
Like
right?
fatigue, extreme fatigue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as women, we pass it off like, well, I'm always tired. I mean, I'm a caregiver, right? I've got
Mm-hmm.
work, I've got husband, I've got kids, spouses, whatever, partners. And and it's just, but the exhaustion just doesn't, there's nothing satisfies the exhaustion. And you might
Right.
find yourself just coming home and crashing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You don't even have enough energy to fix yourself a healthy meal or make sure you're eating a healthy meal. There's just
Right.
not even enough energy for that.
Which adds to the
Um,
spiral, right?
exactly. For me, I also found the exhaustion was stealing away a lot of the clarity too. I wasn't clear. It was difficult to focus.
Mm-hmm.
It was difficult to focus even doing a job that I've been doing for so long. I mean, I had gotten so good at my job, I could have done it with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
Um, but I think in those earlier stages, and it was confusing because I started kind of like almost like losing the grip on what I was
Yeah.
doing at work. And I was like, why? How am I? Why? I know what I'm doing. I'm like the best at this job,
Yeah.
right? There's no one better than me doing this job. So how can I? But I didn't feel like I was meeting that standard anymore.
Isn't
So
it
I think some of the
funny?
go
I
ahead.
sorry to interrupt.
Well,
I had the same experience and I was teaching English at a university. So when you start forgetting higher level academic vocabulary words, something that has never happened, or literature, or, for me, I passed it off as brain fog and hormones.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Same here, passing it off as brain fog. But at that point with the exhaustion, you're too tired to even try to figure out like, is it my diet?
Hmm.
Is it that I'm not, I mean, it's just, you're not even thinking about those things because you're just too tired to even go
Yeah.
there. It's you really get so you start moving into this survival mode
Yeah.
and you're really just doing the bare minimum for yourself.
Hmm. So I wanted to ask you about pushback. I know that I had a little bit of pushback because not only was I in higher education, but I was in a job where education could be free, and I've got three boys. But
Mm,
I was working and pushing it to the point where I was going to lose it if I had to do it another year, let alone another 12 years.
mhm.
Did you experience any pushback from family, from your spouse, that kind of thing?
Um, you know, for me, okay, so first, as far as my spouse, I am so lucky to have a supportive spouse. I'm lucky to
Hmm.
have a partner in life who I can fall back on. We're by no means a perfect couple or marriage. I mean, it's not that, but when it got down to how my health was
Yeah.
starting to take that dip,
Hmm.
my husband started just kind of not liking what he was seeing,
Yes.
was getting concerned. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think because of that, he started becoming, he was very supportive. So
Good.
he was like, Jessica, if you're not happy, if all this is, you're doing your commute, you come home, you're too tired to even listen to the kids. Cause I have three children myself,
Yeah.
all in school, all grade school, one high school. And if you're too tired to even hear about their day, like
Yeah.
something's wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
So he was very supportive. Now, the pushback I did receive from my mom.
Of course. It's
um,
always the mothers, right?
don't mean to call
I
you
think
out,
I
mom,
still do.
but but I think it was just more from her needing to understand,
Yes.
coming from traditional generations, her just needing to understand that, things are different today as far as the work environment,
Hmm.
and the length or amount of time people can commit to
Yeah.
maintain that sanity. So, but she came around. I mean, we talked about it, and it took some time, but she came around. So really, and then I think, honestly, I think the hardest for me was dealing with any opinions from other people,
Yeah.
because I was working a great job,
Yeah.
great position, great money, and so a lot of people have opinions about that.
They do.
And I think that was the hardest part for me.
Yeah, it's good that you have a great supportive husband. My husband at first thought I was nuts, and then it was the same thing. He's very, very supportive, and he's probably my biggest advocate of what I do these days, probably much more so now
Mm,
than when I was working before and teaching, um,
mm,
just running a
okay.
business and so forth. I can remember at one point when I tried to leave the university, they offered me a really big promotion, just tried
Mhm,
to, give me like a really upper level management type position. And I can
mhm.
just remember being at the hair salon with the foils in my hair and starting to sob and calling my husband and saying, instead of accepting my resignation, they offered me all of
Yes,
this. And he said, you have to say no. And
yes.
that was it. That was just, it was like all of the weight was off.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a blessing to have people in your corner.
Hmm.
And for someone who's not in your corner initially, they can eventually get in that corner, and then it's just a matter of being patient with them and
Yeah.
helping them understand what's going on with you, like I
Hmm.
had to do with my mom. But yes, and it was a similar experience for me. Once I gave my resignation, they of course tried to talk me out of it, tried to throw more resources at me,
Hmm.
and but yeah, and same thing. And I sat and I thought, am I doing the right thing? What am I walking away from? And
Yeah.
getting seduced by the what like everybody thinks you should be doing, and like,
Yes,
oh, and the money and stuff. But so that's the hard work, is you have
it
to
is.
stop and tap into yourself, center
Hmm.
yourself, really dig deep. What is it that you want? Um,
Yeah, ultimately it's your soul at risk, right? If you
mhm,
if you keep doing something that's harming you.
totally. Mhm.
Okay, so you now want to share all of this with other women, and that's what you're doing now. So can you tell us,
Mhm.
what is your mission in that? What is it that you want
Yes,
to do?
yes, I love this part. What I found because of my own journey, now I like to call myself a recovering overachiever and perfectionist, which was a lot of work that I've had to also do within these last few years to let go of a lot of that. Letting go of a lot of unrealistic expectations. And now my mission is just I want helping women pause and be okay with, while everybody thinks your life is perfect or what you're doing is perfectly what you should be doing,
Hmm.
pause and say, no, it's not what I want. It's not okay. And it's okay to feel that way.
Yeah.
you a lot of women, because I was there, were riding that current, and you think that, well, this is providing for my family,
Hmm.
this is what I trained. I mean, I have years and years of student debt for my
Yeah.
training.
Hmm.
Okay, I mean, my career didn't come cheap. I
Right.
paid for that. And so that was another piece where I had to stop and accept that it's okay. Okay, Jess, you did all of this training. Okay, you served the years that you served.
Yes.
And now it's time to serve you yourself. And so my
Hmm.
mission is to help women understand that it's okay if you're having a strong desire to walk away from a situation like that because you're no longer happy, or you have a strong desire being pulled towards doing something different, something that's going to be, you know in your heart is going to be so much more fulfilling. That desire, that pull, that's a calling. It's calling you.
Yeah.
and we should pause and listen to that and explore that. And that doesn't mean you have to jump out in front of whatever it is you think it is, and all everything out there just running with it. No, you don't have to do. I mean, just pause and get curious.
Yeah.
Just to get curious. It's okay. It's okay. And then, if you have the life partner, the spouse, whoever, you know, have an honest get honest with yourself, and then getting honest with that partner. And so my mission is to help women be able to have that self-reflection and have those conversations. I'm their supporter, their cheerleader, encourager, and I can ask the questions that can prompt them to self-reflect in a way that helps them realize, you know what, this is actually, I
Yeah.
don't want that, and I think I want to explore this.
Yeah. I found I've gotten really good at listening to my intuition over the years.
Yes.
It really is that silent voice that, people are looking for this miracle voice to come in and talk to you. And really, it's just noticing the little things, the synchronicities that start coming about and kind of following them, even if it's just one little step, right?
Yes,
That
yes,
takes you toward it.
exactly.
And I also find that so many of the things that we want to do now, I was reading your bio and you described yourself as a dreamer, kind of right-brained individual, and someone really looking for that artsy side as a child. I was the same, but you kind of move in this direction that you think is expected of you, what's
Yeah.
practical, what's traditional, what you should be
Yes.
doing, right?
Yes.
And whether that comes from parents or just from society in general.
Mhm.
We move that way, but ultimately, if you're not on that right path, there's always that something's going to stop you, whether it's burnout,
Yeah.
whether it's, it can be so many different things.
Mhm,
So I
mhm.
can really relate. And I think a lot of women will relate. So it's good work that
Yeah,
you're doing.
yeah, yeah.
So I have two questions. One about your greatest challenge, getting to where you are now, like maybe in the work that you're doing now, what has been your greatest challenge?
Yeah, I think my greatest challenge, well, it's just within my own mindset. I feel that you know, I, now I've worked, like I said, so hard to get that nursing career that I
Yeah.
had. In technically, and I still have people trying to pull me back into that world. I still have people.
I do too.
And bless their heart for wanting me back. I mean, it's so rewarding to have people want you.
Mhm.
um and so, number one, that's been a challenge,
Yeah.
is I don't want to disappoint again. Like, I'm a recovering perfectionist, I'm a recovering
Yes.
overachiever, and a recovering people pleaser.
Mhm.
Uh, and so, when I'm having these conversations, my network still reaches out to me, wanting me to come back, and they're throwing wonderful, beautiful ideas and
Yes.
offerings, and it's like and here I am, pivoting in my career, in a different direction. And so, not that I feel that I'm starting from scratch per se, because it's still all within that health industry. So I have a
Mhm.
great network there. But in a sense, there is something about it where I am kind of starting from the beginning to build again, and be known not as this, what I was before, that she's great at that, call her for
Yeah.
that. But now establishing myself as great at this too. I can really
Mhm.
be great at this too. And I think that's been my biggest challenge. And that's a lot of my mindset too.
Yeah. An
I think.
identity too, right?
Yeah, so trying to shift that identity over to this reactive nurse who always wants to react to the community and the population's health, et
Mhm.
cetera, but now being more proactive. So I think that's been my biggest challenge, is just shifting that identity over. But um, I stay true to my heart. I stay true to that desire. That desire is a calling. It's calling me. It's pushing me and pulling me in that direction. So I'm trusting that. I'm trusting the process, and I'm trusting myself through this. And I'm going to keep taking these steps forward until, I'm
Yeah.
able to help people. Yeah.
So on the flip side of that question, what has been your greatest joy in the work that you're doing now?
Oh, you just fill me up when you ask that question. I love, so I do have some clients now that are going through their own situations, trying to figure things out, and just sitting down and having one session at a time with each one of these people, and giving them their aha moments and their
Yeah.
self-realization. Oh gosh, that sends such a
Nothing
charge through
compares.
me.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to that. So, and that's part of what I stay focused on and marching forward until I get back to the top again, in what I do. So that's been my greatest joy. It's just watching people like little light bulbs go,
Yeah.
or when I'm helping people give themselves permission
Mhm.
to, no, this is not okay, and it's okay that it's not okay.
Yeah.
And they take that breath in, and oh, that is just, it gives me chills. Love it.
Okay. So this is a question I love because you can see I'm kind of surrounded by books and love books. So I'm always reading now, fiction, but also I love to read books about business and just self-care in general. What is a book that you might recommend to a woman kind of just getting started on this journey of questioning it, whether or not she wants to make a change, wondering if she
Mhm.
should?
Yeah. Now I know there are a lot of great books out there that can help, but honestly, the first book that I just love to recommend to everyone is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Love that. It's on my nightstand. Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason that I recommend that book to women in that position is, it just starts small. It
Hmm.
just starts, you can't, you feel like you've got this big mountain in front of you, and you've got to make a decision, and you've got to make a change, and you don't really know where to start or what to do. And again, I mean, when you're falling down that slope of the burnout, you forget how to take care of yourself. You forget who you are. You
Hmm.
forget what do I even love to do? What do I like? And so what I think about this book that can be so helpful is that it introduces you to the concept of just taking small baby steps.
Yes.
And as you take these small baby steps, that's when, and this is how I do my coaching, is you just in small baby steps. And so
Mhm.
as you start taking these baby steps, you start realizing things, and you start recognizing things, and you start feeling small wins along the way. And so I think that that book helps women in this position build momentum
Mhm.
to just kind of start moving in the direction
Yeah, I
of,
totally agree.
of something, of anything, away from what it is that they're no longer happy with.
Okay. So the final question is, where can we find you online? Can you share the places you'd like us to look on your website, social media, etc.?
Yeah. My favorite social media platform that I stay extremely active on is Instagram. On Instagram, you can find me as jessica.delarosa.sheknows. I love to share a lot of just realistic, everyday little tips to help people find joy, find energy, get clear on stuff. And then my website is jessicahealthandlifecoach.com. And there I share my story with you, my experiences. I'm also inputting a lot of helpful free resources for women in these positions, whether it's just learning a little bit about food, learning a little bit about reincorporating movement, just ways to restore some energy, because I think that's where it starts. You need to start with energy in order to start being able to make some clear decisions about what you want. So,
Great. Well, it has
mhm.
been a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to have been here with you today. Thank you so much.
Sure. And we will have all of your information in the show notes and also in the notes on the YouTube video.
Thank you.